Live from the News Hub here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra, this is News at 10. Remember, you can hear us live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. TV3 is also live on your DSTV channel 279. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you a wrap of today's major news highlights. But first, let's start with the summaries. Distressed residents of Ashale-Botwe are requesting government's intervention following last night's downpour, which destroyed their homes and properties worth thousands of cedis. Parliament has rejected the formula by the District Assembly's Common Fund Administrator Irene Natoshi-Addo on how to use the Common Fund. Both sides of the House said the formula by the Administrator was contrary to what Parliament had approved. And more than 10,000 operators of the Veterans Administration of Ghana, VAG Lotto, are to lose their jobs. This follows an agreement by VAG Board ceding its powers to the National Lottery Authority. The Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana has threatened that its members will go on strike if the government fails to immediately address all outstanding issues pertaining to their conditions of service. The JUSAC President Alex Nate urged government to stop paying lip service to the needs of the Judicial Service and asked for immediate payment of the fuel allowance of staff of the Judicial Service from 2016 to date. You're watching News at 10 and listening to us on Radio 92.7. Up next is The Big One. And one person has been reported missing while two others were rescued at Teshi Demo in Accra after the vehicle in which they were traveling was washed away by flood waters on Monday. Here's a report by Bridget Marty.
The occupants were in a Hyundai Accent saloon car with registration number GY2291-13. The police and officials of NADMO were present at the scene.
Two were rescued before even the car was carried away. But the one who was driving was the lady who was drowned. She also, in an attempt to come out, jumped and then fell, slipped and fell into the water, and she was carried away.
Some residents raised concerns over a dilapidated bridge in the area. They lamented having drawn the attention of authorities to excessive flooding anytime it rains.
The bridge is down. When it rains, the drains do not flow. The bridge has to be reconstructed.
Whenever it rains, the area gets flooded, the gutters get choked, and we are unable to enter our homes. We are pleading with government to come to our aid.
And still on the flood, distressed residents of Ashale-Botwe in Accra are requesting government's intervention following last night's downpour, which destroyed their homes and property worth thousands of cedis.
Residents of Ashale-Botwe Room 6 had to relocate from the neighborhood during last night's downpour. The community leader Alhaji Mohammed Safiano blamed their ordeal on the shoddy construction of a bridge in the area. He indicated that calls had been made to various government officials for it to be reconstructed.
Our resources can even not construct 200 feet or meters meaningful gutter. The government will have to come in automatically. So I think this one is for the concerned authorities to judge for themselves.
He called for an urgent intervention. Affected residents shared their grief.
We are pleading to the government and the entire organizations to come to our aid. We are suffering here. In fact, you can see what happened here. Most people are affected. Most people are affected. We were able to rescue properties. In fact, cars was even taken away. So we are pleading to government to come to our aid.
All my belongings. I'm not the only one affected. Everyone in this neighborhood was affected. We are even wearing borrowed clothes.
My wife just restocked our provision store yesterday. Now everything is gone. We are calling on government to come to our aid.
And the Ghana Meteorological Agency wants the media to attach urgency to weather notifications. Ahead of the forecasting session, Joseph Potiphar said the agency issued a weather warning prior to Monday's downpour, which most of them missed due to late notification. Meanwhile, another downpour is expected Wednesday, June 20.
The downpour on Monday, June 18, rendered parts of the capital flooded. Affected residents in the flood-prone areas were helpless. The Meteorological Agency has since been accused for failing to issue a weather warning, but the agency is blaming the media for not attaching urgency to weather warnings.
They give the weather warning very, very late, not very, very late. So if you are not closer by your PC, I don't think you may be able to get the weather warning. But because we don't have your line, the line that we have is email. We don't have your fax machine number so that we can fax it to you. So we are saying that henceforth the public and the media houses should bear with us and give us their direct line so that if anything at all, if it is 2 a.m., we can call into your studio and then give the weather warning to the public.
Some areas in Accra recorded between 67 and 89 millimeters of rain. The Western region also recorded over 100 millimeters of flash floods.
So while it was raining in Accra and its environs, it was also raining in Sawam, in Suhum, the mountains, the hilly area, that is Akwapim region, all those things. And when it happens like that, they must all run into the sea through Accra. So once it is raining there and it's raining in Accra, then definitely we are going to have what we call a flash flood. And that was what happened this morning.
The agency is warning residents of communities in low-lying areas to immediately relocate.
We are expecting that maybe by Thursday, Wednesday evening to Thursday, we should expect another rain. You are staying beside a river bank, then you should be doing well to move out because by this time all the river banks are becoming full and any additional rain will spill over and get into your home. And when it gets into your home, it might destroy your properties and it can even cost your life.
The agency has predicted more rains this month.
Right, so this has been a perennial problem since 1971. I'm going to take you through some key statistics of the floods we've been experiencing in this country, starting from 1971, where hundreds of houses in the Sekondi Takoradi area were collapsed. A lot of people were rendered homeless. In 1995 also, there were floods July 5th thereabout in Accra metropolis, resulting in power cuts and destruction to property. And then in June 13, 1997, 2 years on, there were hours of intermittent rainfall in parts of Accra, which caused floods and claimed lives. Major rivers where the river banks were overflown, including Odor River. And then also in June 2001, downpour resulted in the submerging of portions of the city. Many structures in Medina, Achimota, Jowolu, and Aveno, and other areas in Accra were flooded, destroyed. And parts of Accra in major streets were submerged in water also sometime around May 5th in 2010. In 2010, same year, in June 20, 22nd, 35 bodies were retrieved from floodwaters across the country after rains hit many parts. It's been described as Ghana's worst in flood history. So in June 24 and 2010, around the same year, 3 bridges connecting Aguna Suedro to neighboring communities also collapsed. In October 2010, same year, 161,000 people were displaced across the country, also due to flood. In October, same year, 55 communities in Central Gonja district in the northern region were affected by flood. And in November, so you do recognize that the trend in 2010 is there were a lot of flood in 2010. In November 2nd, 2,800 people were displaced in Kwewu East, Kwewu South, and Kwewu North districts in the eastern region. Some were rendered homeless. And then the following year, in February, thereabout, extensive havoc was caused in most parts of Accra and surrounding communities due to flood. And then in July also of 2010, 10 hours of rainfall left 105 farmers stranded in Achim Asrasi Krobumu in Etiwa district in the eastern region. So these are critical figures we're giving you. In November in 2011, the death toll in Accra rose to 14, while over 43,000 people were displaced, affected by the downpour, according to NADMO statistics. And in 2013, May 31, heavy rains caused flooding in Kwame Nkrumah Circle area, Dakoma, Kokompe, Obecha Bilamte Circle. So you would recognize that the flooding has been with us for years, and persistently we get a lot of destruction around this time. June 6th in 2014, there were heavy rains also at the Brakawo, Kwame Nkrumah area, Malam, Abeka, Dansuma, Odoko were all affected. And in July of the same year, Niboy Town, Anya, Dansuma, parts of Kanesha, the Brakawo, Odoko were all submerged in water. And in June 2015, June 3rd, more than 150 people were killed in that infamous flood and fire disasters at Kwame Nkrumah Circle. 150 people died. So this is a clear indication of the challenges we've been facing since 1971. That's breathtaking, and especially to think that every year these things occur. And we send out reporters. Eddie Kwabi, my producer, has been sending out reporters every year to flood-prone areas to film and put on TV. I have in the studio with me Maxwell Olukuto, who is a surveyor and development planner. Mr. Olukuto, this is heartbreaking, I must say. From 1971, there's not a single year in between that there were no floods. The rains come, there are floods, people die. In June 3rd, that disaster, famous disaster at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, it was the biggest deal. 150 people died. Now, every year we keep going on the same cycle. I was making a light joke of the fact that Edward Kwabi has been going to report every year, but that's what it is. We get tired. Why are we not tired of fixing these problems once and for all?
Yeah, good evening to viewers, especially people of my constituency. There was a disaster last night during the torrential rains. 3 people died out of electrocution. My heartfelt condolences to the people of Mokoje near Sokwe in the Southern district of the Volta region. Yeah, you asked a serious question about why we are not able to solve this problem. This problem basically comes because of our architectural deficiencies, our technical deficiencies, our
and architectural and technical deficiencies being with us since 1971, and we're not fixing it.
They have been there, and the social problems we talk about, it's because we ourselves lethal around. We do a lot of polythene and we leave them on the soil. They get under the soil. Silting becomes a problem. When it rains, they cannot drain away easily. We have open drains.
They flood us.
Even if we have the covered ones, we are not able to manage them because of technical problems. You see a lot of people doing gutter to gutter. They call it gutter to gutter construction. Yeah. They don't have surveyors who give them levels so that they can slope these drains very well, so that once it rains, it flows out very easily. We have some I call Asigiza gutters, because you see people constructing these drains without any technical background. They only do it because there's job for the boys that they have to do. So these are the technical problems that come. The architectural ones are the ones that we ourselves go to build on the waterways. Maybe the city is already developed, but out of curiosity or people, because they are rich, they want to be in city centers.
I spoke to the Bureau of Public Safety earlier today on radio, 3FM 92.7, and the impression I get from the executive director is that we're not angry enough as citizens. Is anger enough to fix the problem?
Anger should be able to push us to solve problems. But unfortunately, you see, when the politicians lack the political will to push through, because they want to break somebody's property, which is right on the waterway. People come begging in the offices and they let go. And so we don't have the political will to be able to push these things to the last letter so that people can get off these things. But we keep going on and on and on because we don't have the power to just strike hard. People come to do this thing willfully. There are some of them, they go to build. Sometimes if you even see the texture of the soil and the kind of structure grass is growing on, you will know that this is a waterway. You marvel the kind of properties that we're able to put on these waterways. And water, because of the force it comes with, once you block it, it begins to look for other ways to go through. And when that happens, poor people who might have constructed their homes several years ago would bear the brunt of whatever is happening.
I know this is a problem affecting all the country, but Accra is hit a lot more times, and Accra appears to be in a mess. Would you suggest, for example, that due to these same architectural problems and challenges we're talking about, perhaps we should relocate the capital?
I wouldn't say necessarily relocating. That's why we have engineers.
It wouldn't help, like it happened in Nigeria, Lagos and Abuja.
Definitely, we need to re-engineer the systems. Some of the drains would have to be reconstructed. Storm drains would have to be introduced. Some critical actions would have to be taken. Some buildings would have to be broken.
Drains at places like Alajo, where the storm drain was constructed all the way from Achimota downstream to Alajo. Still, the volume of water that collects in that gutter and causes flooding is immense.
The volume of water that collects in that because we consciously dump refuse into these drains. People take their rubbish from home and they dump it in the gutter. So once you do that, you are blocking the way for the water, and so it rises up.
Do you have hope for us?
Yeah, we can't throw our hands in the air and in despair.
So where should we start from?
No, we should re-engineer. Yes, we enforce the bylaws.
Re-engineering means what? If you take, for example, Kaswa, when the rain, the slightest rain, all the silt from the mountain come down onto the road and we can't even move.
Fortunately, in the developed ways, they have ways of blocking these things. They have ways, they cut the slope so that it doesn't come directly down like that.
That's what you call re-engineering.
Yes, so we need to look at these things and solve our problems once and for all. We leave it and we throw our hands in despair, we continue to find people continue to die year in, year
Mr. Lokuto, we're grateful for your time. I know that we would love to have a longer discussion with Mr. Lokuto, who is a surveyor and development planner there. I'm Stephen Ente. You're watching and listening to us on 3FM 92.7. This is News at 10. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, some minority members of parliament have called for an investigation into the source of the Ghana cards circulating on social media, purported to be for some minority MPs. Others accuse the government for being behind those ID cards.
It's Tuesday, June 19, 6 days into the Ghana card registration exercise at Parliament, and minority MPs still stand by their decision not to take part in the process.
The minority have raised fundamental objections to the Ghana card. A national identity system remains a national imperative for purpose of planning, for purpose of social and economic development, and for the banking sector. But it must be an inclusive exercise. Our objection is rooted in three fundamental factors.
The National Identification Authority, NIA, has disassociated itself from some pictures of national ID cards, describing them as fake, which does not match the official cards being issued. Member of Parliament for South 9, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekbo, accused government of producing those fake ID cards purposely to create a negative image for the minority MPs.
The assurance that their system cannot be hacked is well protected and all, it's not true.
But whom do you think will be behind this?
we suspect the government to give us a bad name. The first person who put that information out is Gabi Ochedaku. He said that contrary to the popular information out there that the minority are staying away from the registration, he has information, and then he dumped the 4 samples of those ID cards into cyberspace.
Others shared a similar.
Right, the Progressive People's Party, PPP, has expressed disappointment over the NDC MP's boycott of the registration of the Ghana card. The party argues the opposition MPs cannot participate in passing the NIA law and turn around to fault it. We have in the studio tonight Kofi Asamoah Siao, who is Director of Policy at the PPP, joining us. Good evening, sir. Thank you extremely for your time. So the minority MPs are expressing their rights to boycott. Why do you have concerns with that? You think their approach is bad, or you think their approach is in bad faith?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, first of all, it is in bad faith. But let's go back to 2001. That is when we started an attempt to have a database of proper citizens of the Republic at the National Economic Dialogue. We proceeded to pass the law in 2006 and then mandated the NIA in 2008, the National Identification Register Act, and so on and so forth. So it has taken us a journey of 17 years. And as we speak, we are not clear as to the direction we should have or we should go, especially with the new introduction that the NDC is trying to introduce. And in our view, an attempt to bastardize the process, to delay it for another time.
You mean the NDC's insistence on the use of the voter ID card as proof of citizenship?
Yes. It's a deliberate mischief that they have put out there, and they have, if you like, also instructed.
But how is that mischief if all they're saying is that if the requirements to be able to vote in this country is to be a citizen and you have a voter's card, why can you not present the voter's card?
We have done some things wrong in the past. So we have proceeded to have elections conducted, or we have proceeded to compile a voters register out of nothing. So the primary document we must all refer to is the Constitution of the Republic. And if you go to Chapter 3, that addresses citizenship, Clause 6 tells everybody who a citizen of the Republic is. It doesn't say when you hold an ID card or a voter's ID card, you are a citizen of Ghana. So the National Identification Project was the exercise that Ghana decided for the first time to compile a register that of citizens. Then you proceed to compile a register with it, a voter's register with it. You proceed to present that ID card as a form of identification at the DVLA
so your
for driver's
belief is
license.
that the Ghana card eventually will be, the Ghana card and the subsequent database that will result from the collection of that data will subsequently be the key primary document to
that
be
is
used
what the law
now
says. That's what the law says.
To compile a voter's register.
Voters register. So that's what the law says. And in the, I brought the Hansard for 17th November 2017, and all the minority MPs agreed with the suggestions and the proposals in the amendment bill that the NIA submitted to the committee or to the parliament, to the committee, and brought back to...
What would you have the minority do under the circumstances?
They should back off from this exercise. We have delayed it unduly. It is so important to banking, social issues, this flooding that we are discussing, and so on and so forth. This is deliberate because they spent 8 years in government at the time the law was already in place, and they didn't do anything about it. So to come around, in fact, we had 21 million people registered. They scuttled the whole exercise. They wasted our money, wasted everybody's time. Now a new government is in power, trying to fulfill a campaign promise. In fact, a demand on that administration to give us a national ID card. They introduced this thing as a diversionary tactics to bastardize the process, botch the exercise so that we don't move forward. That is mischief, is deliberate, and they should stop it.
Mr. Asamoah, we're grateful for your time. I'm afraid we ran out of time. I'm Stephen Enti. Thank you very much for making time. Up next is Russia Daily with the sports team. Thanks for staying with us. There's more news at 3news.com. Good night.